Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, Caliban. I'm also the noob, and it's the ultimate Usagi Minako jam!
Yes, it is. And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon cosmic power make up this episode. Today we are talking about episode number 92. Suteki na Bishonen? Tenoh Haruka no Himitsu in Japanese. A handsome boy, Haruka Tenoh's secret, the English translation, and the English title, Driving Dangerously.
Driving Miss Dangerously.
Yeah, right? I kind of wish it was Driving Miss Dangerously, but...
Gave away my title there.
Oh, no.
But that's a Deke title.
Yeah, it is. It's not a Cloverway title.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I have a correction and update from something that we talked about on a previous show.
Okay.
On the last episode, we talked about the weird, mysterious house full of stray cats.
Yes.
Where you definitely will not get cat scratch fever in there. And also the fact that it just seems to have like a lot of vertical space. We've got bay windows. We've got stained glass windows. I guess it was an abandoned church. Did you get that?
No.
I never thought that we saw it from wide enough to, get and understand this. But that would, first of all, the reason I bring it up is, I don't want to be wrong. So I want to let people know that, yes, I went back and read the, Sailor Moon Wiki description, and they describe it as an abandoned church. But also, it just gives more credence to my theory about the Judeo-Christian imagery that suffuses this season.
It does suffuse the season. I totally agree with that.
The S is for saved.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't know.
No, it's for super.
Super saved.
Yeah, this. Oh, okay.
Super book, perhaps?
Oh, come on. You and your super book.
The S is for stop it.
Oh my gosh. I also had read, but I just wasn't sure if this was just a fan theory or not, so I didn't include it in last episode, but I'll mention it now. Somebody said that the abandoned house, was the same house that Nephrite had and made into his headquarters.
Although it
did have stained glass.
Yeah, it had the same thing.
Right.
That would be so we never.
But it didn't seem like they made any connection to it.
No, and plus you have to, establish, like, I could tell you like two locations: the main hall area of Nephrite's house and the balcony where he drinks wine while Soysite picks on him. Those are the two places I can tell you. And I think it was a spooky graveyard. They don't give you the same like layout, you know what I mean?
No.
Now that I think about it, the tiles and the many rooms, and it does feel more institutional. Although if it's a church, you'd think at some point you'd fight in the nave, or like just the central sanctuary of the church. And there is no real scene like that, maybe because they didn't want to push it too hard. But then when you think about the fact that, it's really big, there's like a swing set outside, so maybe there's like a little playground for like the church kids and stuff like that. It's like, okay, all right, now I see it.
I can see that, but I didn't. That's not where my brain automatically went, and I don't know. Like maybe if I had seen like a cross inside there, I would have been like, oh, I know what this is. But I don't know. Yeah, I was a little slow.
You're not going that far.
No,
this isn't Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I know.
We don't always talk about churches on the show, but I think this season we'll be talking a little more than we usually do.
Yes.
So to any new listeners, we want to say welcome. We love talking about Sailor Moon, and we've gone this far, and we're going to go the whole way.
We are going to go the whole way.
And if you like what you hear on the show, you can join us on our social medias. Go to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we're either noob_sailor or sailor noob.
Correct.
I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
Also, we have a Discord. The link is in the show notes if you want to just click through and come join us on Discord and talk about this kind of stuff. And where were you guys? You could have told me it was a church.
I know.
I was sitting here just going, blah, blah, blah. Christian, Jesus this, Christian that. And then I missed that the whole thing took place in a church.
Well, we both missed it. let's not miss what happens in this episode because it's definitely not a church. But
could you?
I know. But maybe some people think of driving as their religion. I don't know.
Well, you did it to yourself.
I did.
The sacrament of motor oil and gasoline. You pierce the side of the car and, well, don't do that.
No, don't do that. That's bad
and
news.
windshield wiper fluid comes out.
Oh, gosh.
Let's not try to get in trouble with any higher powers than us.
Okay.
Maybe we'll just talk about what happens in the episode.
Yeah, take it away, Cal.
It happens in Juban Shopping District. Usagi is on her way to Raise because the studying, she going on.
Oh, yeah.
We got to learning for these tests. But Usagi is lamenting that they have to study for these tests. And she stops in front of the door of Game Center Crown. And there's a little moment of like, remember first season? Remember that?
Yeah, I know.
But no, I have to bear it for the sake of the others. We all got to study now. So she walks out of frame for 2 seconds and then runs back in like, Nani?
Yes.
And then we go to the title card, which is like kind of breaks up the bit here, but
it does
there's nowhere else that this could be. We come back because she's seen something. She goes inside Game Center Crown, and what she saw was Minako, who was talking to the manager on duty. Or maybe she saw the manager, who is Motoki.
Yes.
Who has been absent for 23 episodes.
That's true.
This guy's seen less than Bleeding Gums Murphy.
What?
It's Simpsons reference.
Oh, okay.
What about Dr. Marvin Monroe? They were, the two characters who were never popular that died on The Simpsons. And then I found out recently that in the 15th season, they just brought Marvin Monroe back, and he's like, I was very sick.
What?
It's probably funnier than that. But anyway,
yeah, wow, okay.
Where's this guy been?
Yeah, right.
We've seen his sister about as much as we've seen him.
Yes.
Anyway, Minako was telling a story about how Artemis ate Huller caramels. And I have 2 observations. First, we've confirmed that other people can see Artemis, right?
Yeah.
Some of the things that she says sounds like she's talking about like Brett Bretterson, her made-up boyfriend. Like she's saying these things to be interesting, but the scope is depressingly narrow.
I would Artemis do that? I don't know if he would.
Which do what?
Eat caramels.
Well, he'd eat anything. I think we've established.
Oh, okay.
But like, does anybody want to hear about it? And that leads me to my second thing. The scope of her life is depressingly narrow.
Oh.
She's a 15-year-old cat lady, and she deserves better.
She does deserve better.
And she's going to get it in this episode.
Oh my gosh.
Almost. She's talking to the right person, a guy who was defined by Usagi not having a crush on him anymore. And he is eating up the whole caramel story. We've talked before about how Motoki is a little too nice. But he's also kind of a blank. Like a serial killer, right?
Whoa.
There's a reason he wears that apron.
I do not like where you're going with
this. The kill room isn't back.
No.
It's always there. Motoki's dark passenger.
Oh my god.
So while Minako was telling Motoki the story of the caramel that Artemis ate that one time, behind her, Usagi does one of the most anime things this show has ever done.
Yep.
Her head swells up and turns red as she's charging this huge yell that she's going to do. Yes. She's like the seagull. She's like the inhaling seagull meme. You've seen this meme, right?
I don't know if I have.
But the seagull's saying something, whatever the meme's about, and then its head flips back, and then it goes, bah! And like its eyes are glowing, you know?
Okay, yeah, that is
like,
what it is.
Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba.
Yeah, right.
She's doing that, and she screams at Mina, who falls to the floor. When she gets up, she's like, hey, Usagi, what's up? And Usagi's like, don't what's up me. We're supposed to be studying. And Motoki says, no, I lured her in here. I wanted her help moving a couch. No, he says,
oh my God.
I told her that she was working hard, too hard, and needed a break. Misako says, Usagi, we're only young once. If we fail our exams, won't we think, I wish I was having more fun?
Yeah, right.
You know, haste makes dancing.
Yeah, what?
And Motoki says, maybe you should be studying after all. But, and this is, if anybody has any idea, please let me know. The voice actor changes or is like doing it a different way. It sounds, it's like a really low voice and the animation style gets a little different. Like, I think there's like a cultural joke here that I'm not getting.
Okay.
Like here, for example, what if there was a famous manga about a teacher that really loved his students, you know, and his like catchphrase was like, you should be studying more.
Right. You know? Okay, I see what you're saying.
I have a well you can study in.
Yeah, what?
Okay,
Cal,
I'll drop
Cal.
I'll drop it.
Yeah.
I'll drop it.
Okay.
But anyway, The same for Haste Makes Dancing. You know, we need to reach out to a Japanese citizen, you know, or somebody with an advanced knowledge of Japanese and find out why these are supposed to be funny. Because this has become her bit. Like, it was everybody's, but it's now focused. This is her only thing that she does. I don't like leaving things behind. You know me. I always clean my plate, whether I like the food or not. And I've gone through a couple different phases with this malapropism bit of hers. And I want to get to the bottom of it. So listeners, if you have any suggestions about what the jokes are in these bits, or know anybody that would know, let us know on social media or Discord. Because there's only so many times I can try to type like haste, dancing, waste, like type these into Google Translate and see if like the characters are similar or the way it's said in Japanese is similar.
And I don't know what it is.
It's not bearing fruit, so I need help. I want to enjoy this more. Anyway, Minako says, check this out. She pulls her over to play a racing game called God Driving.
There you go.
Jesus, take the wheel. We're God driving. Now this is God racing.
Oh my gosh.
Minako pulls in front of Usagi while they're driving here, and Usagi's losing. She's a lap behind. And Minako's like, see ya. Although that's what the subtitles say that she says. What she actually says is, Osaki, which means first. Usagi jams on the accelerator in frustration, and her car wipes out. Game over. Just then, the doors of Game Center Crown slide open, and we see a pair of Oxfords stride confidently in to the strains of Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover by Sophie B. Hawkins. Okay, not that last part, but I bet I could find a YouTube fan video right now that matches this description.
Probably.
Usagi has had enough of this game. She says she's getting car sick. But Mina's like, let's do it again. More God driving. If we don't do this, who's going to conquer the world of Formula One in the future? And a voice says, can I drive alongside of you? As we pan up a pair of green tartan slacks, matching tie under a brown school blazer, leather attaché, to blue eyes under a head of short tawny hair. Cue the rose petals, rim lighting, and romantic music. Usagi and Minako lose their minds. He's so hot!
I know.
They even have the same taste romantically.
I know.
How come Minako's never made a move for Mamoru?
Because he was already totally taken by the time Usagi came around, or she came around.
This episode's gonna show why I feel like that's a possibility.
Oh, okay.
Minako just shoves Usagi out of her seat.
I know.
Like there's one too many people in the lifeboat. And she says, oh, right here, go ahead. The stranger gives their bag to Usagi, who's still on the ground, puts a 100 yen coin in the video game machine, and sits down. And Minako thinks, lucky. I'm playing a game with a hot guy. And Usagi's just standing there like,
She's so bummed. It's not her.
The race starts and Minako thinks, yeah, watch this. But the stranger is just sitting there. Hands not even on the wheel.
Yep.
And Usagi says, the race has already started. But the stranger says, yes, I know, but I have to give her an advantage. Minako hits the accelerator so hard the screws on the machine pop out. Thinking, how dare he say that about me? Who will conquer the Formula One world? Me! And the stranger says, well, I think it's time. It hits the gas, and the girls watch as the stranger's car quickly overtakes Minako's and blows by her like she's standing still. The race is over. But the stranger is gracious, saying, you did pretty well. I guess cute girls can be good at games too. Minako is like, oh, cute? Well, many have said that about me. Right then, a voice says, sorry to keep you waiting, Haruka. And we see another stranger, a girl in a skirt of the same pattern as the strangers and a brown uniform top with blue hair. You gotta have blue hair.
You do.
Same deal, rose petals, music, rim lighting. Usagi and Minako are like, she's so beautiful!
I know.
And the stranger says, well, we're off. Hey, you with the buns. We should race together next time. And Usagi's like, okay. And Mina's like, whatever. And the pair leave. The blue-haired girl says to the stranger Haruka, you got to know them pretty well. And Haruka says, jealous? This reminds me of a time that I was in an arcade in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah?
Kids, ask your parents what an arcade was. And fighting games, they're still popular, but they were really popular back then. And there was a line. Well, there was one line coming out of this machine. There was one guy, and you put your quarter up, and it's your turn. And there was a line of 6 guys. And this guy took every single one of these guys down, including me, undefeated.
Gosh,
and it wasn't until I had already been destroyed and had gone back to the end of the line to just watch this guy watch his hands because part of your manliness is being good at being Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat.
Oh my gosh.
And I noticed that he would crush the guy first round. There's 3 rounds. Second round, crush the guy until he's at about quarter of his life.
Okay.
And then the guy would start fighting back, and the guy's like, yeah, got him. Yeah, take that. Yeah, get him. And I looked at the Wiz's hands.
Yeah.
And they're just resting on the console. Nobody was even looking. Nobody was even seeing that he was just letting this guy trash him.
So he could beat him.
So he could get the most play out of it. Yeah. And then third round would start and he would just paste the guy and that was it.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, wow. I mean, arrogant, but to have that kind of talent where you're just, yes, you're there to win, but you're literally there to spend as much time as you possibly can, like honing your craft. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I didn't see what color hair he had, but or what kind of pants he had on. But maybe that was what was going on. Watching them go are Usagi, Minako, and Motoki. Minako thinks, so that man's name is Haruka. Huh? That's a strange. And Motoki says, yeah, they've been coming around a lot. And Minako says, oh, are you here, Motoki? Motoki's like, yeah, I work here. But the girls are starstruck.
Yep.
At the cafe, once upon a time, we see the strange pair drinking coffee or tea. And the blue-haired girl says, I feel it. The sea is about to be stormy again. We need to be careful. And over Haruka's shoulder, we see that Usagi and Minako are spying on the pair.
Yeah.
Scary monsters and super creeps.
Yep.
Usagi says, I think they're lovers. But Minako says, he's the man I've been looking for.
I know.
This is it. It has to be like this. And Usagi's like, he's got a girlfriend. And Minako says, nobody says that. She grabs a glass of water off a tray. She downs it, slams the glass down, and says, I, Minako, will have my heart burn with this romance. And the waitress who was holding the tray says, ma'am, please go back to your seat.
I know.
And Minako's like, shh. Later outside, the strange hot pair are walking the streets along a concrete channel, and our girls are still following them. Usagi's like, it looks like they're a couple, but Minako says, you can go home now. I got this. And Usagi's like, I want some of the handsome guy too. And Minako says, you've got Mamoru. In front of Kameda Motors Auto Shop, Haruka goes inside and her companion keeps on walking, and Minako thinks this is her chance. The pair run up to the open garage door and peek inside, and they see Haruka talking with a mechanic, the Mr. Kameda.
That's right.
We cut from there to the lab stock footage. Yep. Dr. Giggles is at it again.
Yep.
Still summoning Karanite. Still asking about the pure hearts. Still holding a test tube over an open flame with his bare hands. Karanite says, I have a good idea, but we don't hear what it is before he sends another demon egg out into the world.
Yes.
The egg appears in the garage of Kameda Motors and enters into the car that Mr. Kameda and Haruka are wrenching on.
Yes.
Are we going to have a Christine scenario here?
Maybe.
The girls don't see this because they're too busy arguing over who gets to talk to the hot guy. This is it. This is Nampa. No, this is Gyakunin.
What?
They are boy hunting.
Oh, right.
Like we talked about before.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
As they're arguing, Haruka is standing near the garage door and she says, how long are you going to hide there, little kittens? Oh my God. Haruka / everyone.
I know.
Minako and Usagi lean out and Minako says, oh, so you knew about us? And Usagi says, nya nya.
I what? She's a cat now?
Ooh.
I know.
Haruka says, Tenoh Haruka, 10th grade. You wanted to know, right? And Minako says, that's right. And for this whole sequence, I'm not even going to do it. I can't do it justice. But everything that Minako says, she repeats like the last syllable of what she says.
Yeah,
and she's copying all of her movements. Yeah, it's so great. Haruka says, let's see, what else did you want to know? Minako and Usagi raise their hands, and Minako says, how is the person you were with related to you? To you? What kind of relationship do you have? She's not your lover, right? Right. And Haruka says, Michirou and me lovers? And Minako and Usagi are dabbing their tears away. You're close enough not to use honorifics?
Yep.
Not use them. Haruka says, well, we're closer than that. And Minako and Usagi die right there. Show over. It's a good run. Then Haruka does the cruelest thing that I've ever seen on this show. She kneels down where they've fallen and says, don't give up. You two still have a chance.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
Haruka slash me. And Minako's like, oh, okay. Just then Michirou returns and says, don't be fooled. This person always says things like that to cute girls. Okay, so not me then. And Haruka's like, I mean, that's a little harsh. And they go on to have this really like mature, familiar conversation. And we push into Minako's face as this is going on. And she watches them. And she raises her hand again and says, are you Haruka's lover? And Usagi says, answer yes or no. And Michirou, who's been very patient with these dangerous weirdos, says no. And Minako's like, yes, this romance is mine. Mine. You have Mamoru, Usagi. And Usagi thinks Minako's being just like Rei. Remember Rei?
Yes.
She sneezes as we cut to Hikawa's shrine.
She's great.
And Ami and Makoto studying. And she says, I think it might be pollen. And Mako says, well, Usagi and Minako are late. And I think we're all late after meeting Haruka.
Oh my God.
Ami says, late has a double meaning there.
Yeah.
Ami says, I'm worried that it's the two of them. Rei says, they probably followed a cute boy home. Wow, she really is psychic. And Ami's like, oh, please, you don't think. And they're all like, Cut back to Kameda Motors, and Haruka is explaining that Mr. Kameda wants to become a professional racing mechanic. Haruka says, I can see a racing circuit swaying in the haze from a mirage. You can barely see the road from the heat coming off.
Oh my gosh.
Reach down between my legs. Ease the seat back.
Oh my God.
She's running. I'm flying. We see visions of stock car racing. We hear the roar of engines. She says, the wind that blows across the circuit has a wonderful smell. Michirou says, Haruka has the dream to be a top race car driver. Haruka says, no, that was my dream. My dream now is to do something only I can do, and I will make any sacrifice, no matter what I lose. And Michirou covers Haruka's hand with her own. Cue rose petals, rim light.
Yes.
Minako says, he's so awesome. And Usagi says, not as good as Mama-chan, but yeah, that's pretty good. Mr. Kameda finishes his work, buttons it up, and he leans over to grab the wheel of the car. When it explodes with dark energy, Haruka makes to dash to his aid, but Michirou holds Haruka's hand firmly. Horn blaring, the car twists and transforms into a sexy lady car.
I know.
How does she look? Let's say that if there's anime porn on Cybertron, like that.
Oh my God.
The car lady screams, steering goo!
Yep.
And says, I'll take your pure heart that rides on dreams. Jack up! And fires pistons that grab Kameda by his arms and legs and just jack him up to the ceiling.
I know.
Usagi and Minako rush to help him, but they slip on oil and crash into a stack of boxes like it's a Jackie Chan film.
Yep.
The Daimon steering goo rolls on her back because she has wheels, like she's on a creeper, like a mechanic.
Yeah.
She slides under Kameda. Her body, double meaning, has little windows on it.
I know.
And the one over her boobs rolls down to reveal her black star.
I know.
And she shoots her beam into Kameda's chest. She retrieves his heart crystal and she says she'll bring it to Kaorinite. And she zooms off down the drainage channel, tires squealing. And Usagi and Minako recover and they transform.
Yes.
Using their name songs.
Yes.
Sailor Venus.
Yeah, it's the first time we've heard Sailor Venus during while she transforms. Yeah.
We cut back to steering goo as she races down the channel, and I think she's doing her own car noises.
Was that right?
She's like,
oh my God.
It's so great.
I do like that, like, her feet, she has a spoiler now all of a sudden, and, like, her feet are on top of that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Her legs are the part of the spoiler.
Yeah.
But right behind in the rearview mirror comes Haruka and Michirou on a motorcycle. T2! This is fucking T2!
It kind of is.
They are in a drainage ditch on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Jesus and T2. Those are the key pillars of this season. And I can see it. Haruka drives the motorcycle up the side of the channel, and she doesn't jump, bringing the motorcycle right down on top of steering goo, causing her to crash. And she also does her own crash noises.
Oh my God.
She's like, kaboom! Oh, kapow! That's commitment. Then she says, that was really dangerous. It's a good thing I was wearing a helmet.
I know. I know.
A bell dings and we see Sailor Moon and Sailor Venus on a pedal bike at the top of the canal.
I know. It's
And they say, the pure heart of a man chasing his dream, we won't let you take it away. And Usagi jumps down and says, in the name of the moon, I'll punish you. And Venus is like, you made me pedal the bike. Why do you get to do something cool? The daemon says, no more things blocking my road. And she sprouts blades from her wheels. Looks bad, but a swirl of red rose petals cuts the air between the combatants. Two women in Sailor Senshi uniforms stand back to back in the middle of the channel. They say, guided by a new era, Sailor Uranus acts with elegance. Also, guided by a new era, Sailor Neptune acts with grace. We have a reason to seek the talismans. We won't let you have the heart's crystal. Moon and Venus are like, what?
Yep.
Uranus summons a ball of energy to her upraised hand and calls, world shaking! The ball of energy streaks to the daemon and transfixes her. Similarly, Neptune calls a ball of blue energy and intones, deep submerge! And fires her own attack, which takes the last of the demon's strength. Venus says, now Sailor Moon! And Usagi gives us the MSHA. Steering U is totaled! Now she's just a car standing up in a drainage ditch in front of a boy.
Yeah, right. Standing up on her like back bumper.
Yes.
That's not great, but yeah.
Neptune beholds the heart crystal and says, well, no, it's not a talisman. And Uranus tosses the crystal somewhat cavalierly back to Sailor Moon. That's a person's heart, Uranus.
I know.
Saying, get that back to its owner. And they somehow walk off into the sunset, even though they're in a trench.
Yep.
That's how good they are.
Yes.
Later at Game Center Crown, Minako finishes telling the tale of their meeting, Haruka and Michirou. But Rei says, so basically you ditched the study group to chase a hot guy? And Ami says, you guys, we have to research the new soldiers. But Rei says, oh, Luna and Artemis are doing that right now. And Mako says, that's why we didn't see them. Okay, I think the actress has in her contract that she gets 3 lines or something, because otherwise no one would question why the cats weren't there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So it's just sort of weird that she has to do that. We just talked about in Pretty Guardian Sailor Noobs, our Patreon show, we just talked about how like Mako's not in the conclusion of one episode, and then the next episode she's like, oh boy, I wish I could have been there. It's like, don't air your dirty laundry here. I don't know what's going on. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just watching the fiction of this show.
Right.
I'm not concerned about where the cats are. But anyway, she got her line. Right then, Michirou and Haruka arrive, and Minako says, Michirou, where's Haruka? And Michirou says, she's right here. And all the girls run up saying, where's the hot guy?
I know.
Except Mako, who says, where's that guy that looks like my senpai? Wow.
Really say it like that.
Yes. Michirou just gestures to...
You haven't even seen this person.
You have a pathology, girl.
She does.
Michirou just gestures to Haruka and Minako screams. And the other girls are like, so she's a girl. And Haraki says, well, I never said I was a guy.
Yeah, Haruka never said that. She never did.
And Ami says, we don't have time for this. And Usagi says, I said Mama was better from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, I said that.
I know.
And this ends with a new closing song.
It does.
What's the title?
Tuxedo Mirage or Tuxedo Mirage.
Mirage.
Yes.
Here are some lines from this power ballad. Please don't stop the kisses. Also, you can steal it with the scent of velvet.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't
I
know.
thought we had a maiden's policy going on here.
I don't know what velvet smells like.
And now you can steal it with velvet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the velvet of some part of his tuxedo, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming maybe his cape.
Is the last closing song going to be just like, 9 Inch Nails, I want to F you like an animal?
No.
I feel like the emotions are accelerating in these songs.
No, I don't think it's going to be like that. Although, did I ever mention to you, I think I have mentioned this to you off air, but like Japanese like stores and stuff like that, they don't really pay attention to like what English songs, like what they actually, like the words actually mean. And I was in a Kittyland, which is like a toy store for kids, and they have a lot of like stationery and stuff like that. Playing. Well, no, it was I Wanna F You Like an Animal, like by 9 Inch Nails. And right before that was Runaway Train. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? What is happening?
Yeah, I know. It was the 90s, I guess, in Japan. How far back are they?
This was the early 2000s.
Okay, well.
And it was weird. It was really weird. Anyways, did you know that Tuxedo Mirage, the lyrics are written by Minako Takeuchi?
Somebody had to pick up a couple new paychecks in this era. Well, that's good.
Yeah. And it is performed by Peach Hips, which again is the seiyuu group made up of the voice actresses who played the original Senshi. Yeah, some of my other favorite lyrics are, even if these tears turn into stars, even if we lose our merry-go-round, I beg of you, do not stop your kisses. So, yeah, I do like this song, and it reminds me of a lot of other songs of of 90s anime. It just has that kind of like 90s anime sound to it, which I can't exactly describe, but I had a lot of anime music from Japan around this time. Some Ranma 1/2 too, and it sounds of this era for anime, you know, so.
Kind of, like a power ballad, slower, but it's still, got power.
A very romantic feel.
We got
to
a power.
Yeah. Yes. So we get our first non-shadowy look at Haruka Tenoh and Michirou Kaio in this episode. Cal, what are your first impressions?
We're doing this now. I guess they're not villains. We do this now.
Yeah.
Do the villain at the end.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Well, I can do better than that. I think I was clear about how I felt about it during the recap.
Yeah,
but I like how strong they are. They're clearly like a matched pair. Like they're a team, which I kind of like. I wish that, I don't know, maybe they'll get to individuate a little more, but all the sailors we know have like an individual sphere of influence and a power and stuff, and their powers seem like very earth and water, basically. Which is like, okay, well, maybe they're always going to end up together, but I like that they have. I feel like we've talked about this in the past. Like, I feel like our girls have matured some, but every once in a while they got to get dumb so we can push a story forward or a theme.
Yeah.
And I like how dumb our girls act. Minako is just completely smitten, over this fantasy of a boy. And then Usagi is like even worse. Like, she's just completely infantilized. Like, she can't even, talk to these people. She's just literally aping what Minako is doing. Minako is more sexually confident, than Usagi is, which is maybe the one thing that's different between them. But it pales in comparison to ninth graders to 10th graders. You're just so much more mature. Like, these two are just like, they have like a semi-adult relationship, and they see that these kids are sort of like our kids, and they relate to each other with respect, and they're kind of giving these kids the time of day, even though Haruka probably should not flirt with them that much.
Probably not.
Shouldn't mess with them that much.
Yeah.
But we don't see. We've talked before about how the contrast between our sort of juvenile heroes and the mature villains that they fight. And it's great to see some mature heroes, although we don't know they're heroes. We don't know what their mission is yet.
Correct.
But I like the fact that we can see characters who are also, on the side of good. And you have a different, how many, we've got 5 young girls. Have we hit all the iterations of like teenage girl character? Now we have these 2 young women who are going to like do their own thing. And I think that that's really neat.
But it's interesting too, because like you were saying, like, why is there such a big jump from 9th to 10th grade? Or is it just that Haruka and Michirou,
Plus,
for
these
some
girls
reason,
have done 8th grade twice.
I know. Or is it just that Haruka and Michirou are really mature for their age? Because they're 16,
Could be a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And I hope that this is kind of Haruka heavy. Hopefully we'll get a Michirou in the future.
It's coming.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No spoilers. But yeah, loved it. At this point, at this late in the game, trying to introduce all new main characters puts you in like a potential Nikki and Paulo situation, and that is
always like to bring up, but yeah.
Well, it's a problem.
It is a potential problem,
but it is totally like dodged by having these 2 characters be so so intriguing and so mature, and having the sailors just totally bounce off them, like don't even know what to do with them, or how to handle them.
I love how both of them, like when they're introduced, like everything stops and pauses. And then we get this romantic, dreamy music and the flower petals and like the soft lighting, like you're talking about. I just think it's really great. And yeah, I love both Michirou and Haruka. I've always like, Michirou is gorgeous. She is absolutely stunning. And
they're all the prettiest one.
I know, but she's like ultra feminine. Like she wears like a lot of dresses and stuff like that, and just like her hair, I've always thought her hair was really pretty. And you said it's blue. It is blue, but it's like kind of like aqua.
Yes, it's yeah, right.
Yeah,
can't do that.
Okay, sorry.
Let's do something right now. Let's play get the pronouns right. So how do you want to do this? Because I know the world of this character will be opened up for us as we continue on this show. But I think it's fair to say, even with one episode under my belt, I know that this character is gender fluid.
I would say so, but I don't know that they necessarily knew that at the time.
Oh, no, I don't think like
that the anime.
Sure, I don't know when they invented NBs or whatever, but like that's how she rolls. And I'm already saying she. So I just want to know, based on your experience in Sailor Moon fandom, and since the show is never really gonna, like you said, the show is not gonna address it. So between us, like we need the Sailor Noob line. Like, do we want to say
this is hard? He or she or they? Because I believe that Michirou and I think Haruka herself. I'm already doing it. Haruka refers to themselves as she, her. She uses she, her pronouns.
Okay.
So I think that's what we should use.
Yeah.
However, she also, this is where it gets tricky. She says boku, which is the male version of I.
Yeah.
Which, I guess that's another, besides how she dresses.
Yeah. No, I know, like, English speakers, like, we think we've got it all figured out. And it's like, are your nouns gendered? Because now we got a whole different problem.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So she uses boku, but she uses she, her.
Yeah.
So I think we can, what do you think?
I feel like it's from my, white Western English understanding, if she uses, I don't know about gendered language, but if she uses pronouns when she's referring to her, but how do we know? Does she describe herself in the third person for a bio or something like that? How do we know what pronouns she's using on herself? I know that like other people mistake her sometimes for being, male presenting, and she doesn't correct them. She's like, yeah, whatever.
No, she doesn't bother correcting them. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
But I do see...
And some days she's, got earrings on and lipstick, and some days not.
Exactly. And that's why I see her as gender fluid.
We're not alone here.
No.
Why don't we just say we're going to go for she for now, because you can't insult a fictional character. But you can't insult people who this is important to, and it's important to me too. So let's go for she, her for now. And then if people have more insight on it, or if there's some like fan line that, a generally agreed on thing, people can let us know, and then we can update as we go.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I did have a little bit of trivia. Nako Takeuchi likes fast cars, and her favorite car is a Ferrari 512M. In the manga, Haruka drives the same car often, and Nako owns a Ferrari and enjoys driving as a hobby.
That's such a great Ferrari. That was Magnum's Ferrari, wasn't it?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, I just think it's interesting that like, not necessarily a racer, but likes driving fast. So she's like, oh, what if one of my characters likes doing that too?
He had some kind of Ferrari.
Okay.
That cherry red.
Oh boy.
80s Ferrari. But...
That's how the color I picture Nako's Ferrari. I don't know if it's really true or not, but...
She seems fun.
Yeah.
Talking about fast cars, red cars, the lady who turned into a lady reminds me of the 80s cartoon Turbo Teen.
What?
In which a kid has the ability to turn into a car.
Why?
It's real. It's
That
all true.
Sounds made up.
It was never very successful. I think it was on ABC. See, it actually makes sense if it'd be on CBS, right? Because
Yes.
Magnum's on CBS. But
Yeah.
and it was lampooned in an episode of Rick and Morty, where Rick tells Morty that he's given him the ability to transform into a car when he's stressed. And in the episode, nothing happens because they're
Yeah.
like, "Come on, Morty, get stressed. Come on. Oh no, there's a taxi. Let's just take this taxi." And then for the tag at the end of the episode, like Morty's in class and he's like, taking a math test, and he's like, and it turns into a car.
Oh my God.
So
Oh my
kind of what it reminded me of.
Okay. All right. That's hilarious.
It's also great that like she wants to be a race car driver, which even in America is not a lot of women in race car driving.
No.
And they're not associated often with driving in race cars. I was thinking about, because one of three pillars, T2, God, or Superbook, and rock music and songs and stuff like that. And I was thinking about all the songs that had to do with cars. And I'm like, they're all about getting a woman in your car, or the woman is a car somehow, like Panama. Yeah. Like she is the car.
That's weird. I guess sometimes you name your car and it's a female name. I don't know.
Yeah, right. It's a very it traditionally has been a very masculine thing.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we can not only take that back a little bit, but also use it as like, you see this person in slacks driving a car, and you're already assume. Like, yeah, right. You're already kind of heading one way. And then you're like, hold on. Yeah,
right. Exactly. And I did look into it, and the anime, I guess, as it goes on, so you have to be 18 in Japan to get a Japanese driver's license.
Okay.
And for a car, you can get a license to drive a motorcycle at the age of 16 in Japan. So she is legal to drive a motorcycle regardless. But I guess in the anime, it later explains that Haruka holds an international driving permit and a foreign license.
Sure.
And
the world DMV gave her driver's license.
Right. It never goes into where this comes from. It doesn't explain it further. And this is just in the anime. But
because if I go over there and rent a car, like I can drive the car. They're not going to go, "Hey, you don't have a Japanese driver's license."
Right.
I'm licensed in another country.
Right. But you don't live there.
Yeah.
But this is a possibility until 2002, because up until that point, the Japanese government let foreigners have that set up, the international driving permit and foreign license there was no time limit on when you had to get a Japanese driver's license. But after that, after 2002, you could only have that set up for a year. And then you had to get a Japanese driver's license.
So live action Haruka that doesn't exist, you're in trouble.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly.
Backtracking is back for an all-new season. Hi, I'm Caliban.
And I'm Gooey Fame.
And we'd like to introduce you to Backtracking, the podcast that explores the real-world inspirations behind your favorite episodes of Star Trek.
From historical events to classical literature to blockbuster films, we go where no pod has gone before to seek out the origins of classic Trek tales.
Did you know, Gooey, that the TNG episode Too Short a Season was an allegory for the Iran-Contra affair?
Yeah, only sweatier. Did you know that the Enterprise episode Regeneration was an homage to the John Carpenter film The Thing?
Archer and T'Pol freezing to death over a bottle of whiskey would have been a controversial ending.
As a dog lover, Archer would not like The Thing, I'm guessing.
Oh my god, movie night is canceled. Join us every other Thursday for a journey back to the beginnings of the Trek universe.
Backtracking is available wherever you get your podcasts.
No, Porthos!
For Kyoro Kyoro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode. Today we are going to talk about car culture and car racing in Japan.
Oh boy, we're getting out there to do some Tokyo drifting.
You bet I'm going to talk about that. The automated...
I'm a 35-year-old high schooler.
I know, wow.
Itidakimasu.
Stop it! The automotive industry in Japan, of course, is one of the largest industries in the world. Since the 1960s, Japan has been ranked within the top 3 countries with the most cars manufactured. The car industry in Japan rapidly increased from the 70s to the 1990s, when it was geared towards both domestic use and being exported worldwide.
Yeah.
And in the 1980s and 1990s, it surpassed the U.S. as the production leader with up to 13 million cars annually manufactured. As of 2012, however, Japan has produced around 9.9 million cars annually, so down a little bit, and but they're still in the top 3.
Yeah.
Being such a prolific producer of cars is a large part of Japan's car culture, and besides manufacturing, this extends to motorsports, street racing, and modifications.
Yeah.
In the late 1950s, Soichiro Honda, founder of Honda Motor Co., set out to develop a permanent circuit in Suzuka City in Mie Prefecture, designed as a Honda test track in 1962 by Dutchman John Hans Hugenholtz.
Oh, no.
Yep. The Suzuka International Racing Course, or Suzuka Circuit, is both a favorite of F1 drivers and fans, as it's a fun track to watch and race. The most unique part of the Suzuka is the figure 8 layout with the 1.2 kilometer or about 0.75 miles of crisscrossing section by means of an overpass. So there's like this crisscross section that's like an overpass, and so you can see the front of cars and the back of cars as they cross over.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It's really neat.
Yeah.
Suzuka is also one of the oldest remaining tracks of the Formula One World Championship and has a long history of hosting races for the Japanese Grand Prix since 1987. Its traditional role as one of the last Grand Prix of the season means numerous world championships have been decided at the track.
Huh.
And then shifting gears, if you will...
Okay.
Yes, I did that.
I guess you deserve that.
From F1 track racing to drifting. Cal, would you like to give a brief definition of what drifting is?
It's just it's like turning, but like sliding.
Yes.
But like it's a controlled skid.
Exactly. A sideways skid.
Yeah. And just using, friction changes, the differential to make a turn that isn't like, just stopping and turning.
Right.
Or whatever.
Exactly.
It's really only used for this. I mean,
yeah.
In a normal, NASCAR race, if you're drifting, you're going into the wall, But,
yeah, right.
But there's this kind of style of drifting
street racing.
That has Japan was one of the places that first popularized it, and so
it's credited to be the place. Yeah. I don't know if it's the only place, but this maneuver is actually credited to Kunimitsu Takahashi, who was a popular racer of motorcycles in the 1960s, who after a serious injury during a motorcycle race in 1962 started racing cars in 1965. Takahashi had a difficult time adapting to racing cars, so he used a move that slid his car through corners like a rally racer. This move, which is known today as drifting, helped Takahashi win races and was also very crowd-pleasing.
Yeah. That's right. Rally racing, too. I guess you would use it.
Yeah, but that's kind of like more dirt roads, and it's not like on a track.
Or if you live in the Midwest in the winter and you're in a parking lot.
Yes.
That's when I'm a drifting king.
Are you a drifting king? We'll talk a little bit about that. But so do you have experience doing like drifting in parking lots?
The second anybody gets their driver's license, they go out to a parking lot.
I didn't do that.
Okay, right. So once again, I don't believe in traditional gender roles, but
I'm just not fun, okay? I'm gonna put that out there. I, will be the friend who is like, remember to wear your seatbelts and like put on a helmet and like maybe we shouldn't do this. So I'm just not.
The first car I had that had a handbrake, is why I wore it out doing that.
Jeez, did you do figure eights?
Well, you do donuts, and you try to. Yeah, I mean, you try to do it.
Yeah,
and the cops come and you have to drive off.
Did the cops come?
Well, nobody wants you to wreck the high school parking lot.
So why did you do it in the high school parking lot?
Because it's huge.
I just feel like there are other lots that would be less conspicuous. Oh my gosh.
Nobody's there on the weekend at school. That's the whole point of school.
Okay. All right. Anyways, Takahashi is known as the father of drifting.
This is Mr. Drifting.
Yeah, but, well, he's maybe Mr. Drifting, but he's not the Drift King. So, Keiichi Tsuchiya, who is known as the Drift King, undertook the challenge of mastering drifting in his racing by utilizing Takahashi's strategies and refining them. In 1987, Tsuchiya became immensely popular when, due to popular demand, he put out a video of his drifting in his AE86 Toyota 11. Unfortunately, due to this same video, he got his racing license suspended because of, quote, illegal street racing. Uh-oh. Several years later in the movie series Shuto Kosoku Trial, Tsuchiya advised street racers to leave the illegal racing scene if they had aspirations to become professional racer. So he's like, don't do what I did.
Oh,
kind of
PSA.
Thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tsuchiya was a consultant to the popular manga and anime series Initial D. Sure. He also served as a stunt coordinator and stuntman on the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, where he also made a cameo appearance as a fisherman for some reason. I don't know why he was a fisherman. And
that makes so much sense now. So in the movie, one of the ways that the yokel, I can't remember the character's name.
I can't remember his name
one of the ways that he practices is that they go down to like the wharf and they've got a warehouse down there, and then he runs a track, like a circuit that they set up. And there's this one character who's like a fisherman, and he's like, no, he doesn't have it. I'm like, what's this guy know? But it's an inside joke.
Is an inside. You're right.
Drift.
Yeah, he's the Drift King.
Yeah,
he is the Drift King, and they're like trying. There's this big thing in like Tokyo Drift about so and so is going to be the Drift King, but no, he still has his title. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
But street racing also grew rapidly in the 1980s. Street racers known as Haruka in Japanese sometimes race their cars on expressways and highways, which is known as Kosoku Battle, or commonly known as roulette zoku, as they drive around in circular motions, and used to frequently occur on the Shuto Expressway in Tokyo. Japanese racers have also popularized racing along the narrow, winding roads of the mountains of the country, known as toge, and that's like a big part of Initial D as well, like that particular type of driving. The Japanese also utilized their huge freeway loops to take part in what was referred to as max velocity runs. The most well-known of these runs is a route in Tokyo that connects to other cities along the coast and is known as Wangan or Bayshore Route. This is a very important part of the Shuto Expressway that runs from Tokyo to Yokohama. And Wangan connects the artificial islands via bridges and tunnels on the western shore of Tokyo Bay. And the area is fairly vacant at midnight, which makes it a pretty ideal place for street racing.
Sure. Are there Coronas and girls in halter tops?
I'm going to probably say no. I don't know. That seems like very American thing that we're putting on,
I guess.
This is Doesn't this just seem like, what is his name? What is Vin Diesel's character's name in the Fast and the Furious? He just likes Coronas, right? Like and then eventually they got a deal with Corona, or if they did at the beginning.
Japanese person wouldn't know what a Corona is.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. And something else I'm wondering, I know you don't have an answer, I'm just having thoughts. I think that, like, so there's a type of racing called cannonball racing. It's where the Cannonball Run movie comes from.
Right.
Where you race as fast as you can, like across a long stretch of place, usually like across from coast to coast in America. And Japan would be a great place to do that.
Yeah.
Because the thing about cannonball running is that, yeah, you could just go up to Montana if you worked it out that would be faster. But mostly you're all going to go in essentially a series of lines that are close to each other, depending on your route. Japan is just a series of lines, the way that it's sort of like, fairly linear. And so, yeah, you could just race from the North Island all the way down to Okinawa or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't come across anything like that specifically, but I wasn't specifically looking for it either. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that exists, or at least existed at one point in time, if it doesn't still exist.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to this in a minute, but I think that the laws have become stricter as far as like racing super fast. I know, in like the early 2000s, it kind of came down. But anyways, something else that was really big was the Midnaito Kurabu, or Midnight Club, formed in Tokyo in the mid-1980s and was the most notorious and the best tuning club in Japan until it disbanded in 1999. Unlike other clubs, membership to the Midnight Club had very specific requirements and rules to abide by. The main requirement to join was you had to own a car that could hit the minimum speed of 250 kilometers per hour or 160 miles per hour.
Yeah.
At the time, all automobiles in Japan, by law, were electronically restricted to a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour or 112 miles per hour. So cops literally could not catch these guys. So the cops respected the Midnight Club.
And to be fair, most regular people respect it too.
Yeah.
The speed limit and safety.
Yeah.
There's maybe I'm going to be talking about this every show. Who knows? But in William Gibson's novel Itaru, when they're in Japan, it's set in the future, but like close to present. And at one point they have to get away. They're racing somewhere really fast and they're driving a car. And as soon as the car goes over 55, like this ding, ding, this alarm starts going off. Go. And the Western guy's like, what is that? He's like, we're going faster than 55. And he's like, what? Can't you turn that off? They're like, why would we?
That's
so
great.
It's just like a different attitude.
Yes, right. So, in other words, club members were also required to be skilled mechanics in order to modify and boost their car's performance, so it would be able to hit those speeds.
Being a Southern rapper is optional.
Yes, exactly.
It couldn't hurt.
It couldn't hurt, yes. The process of joining the club was also very competitive. Hopeful members were required to be apprentices for a year and to attend all of the club's meetings. Only 10% of these hopefuls would be officially accepted into the club. And once in the club, members have to abide by strict rules. If you put other members or motorists' safety at risk, you would be out of the club immediately.
Nice.
So
the first rule of Midnight Club is we're doing it at midnight.
Yeah.
It's dark out.
Well,
second rule is don't put anybody in danger.
Also, maybe actually, first rule of Midnight Club is nobody shares their real identity.
Oh.
Well, like you say your first name. Everybody knows their first name, but like you're not supposed to share with other people within the club like what you do or whatever and like all this stuff. And like to this day, people don't know who the former members were.
Oh, nice.
So like they have like kept to that secrecy. I just think it's kind of interesting.
That, Han wasn't his real name.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
Because he was Han Solo.
Is that why his name is Han?
Han Solo, yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, really?
Yes. No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
okay. I just like that he eats snacks a lot. Being a member of a club was thought of as being similar to being a member of a sports team. They competed in races together, and they could trust that everyone would race safely. They also helped fellow members improve or work on their cars and their skills in between races. While other clubs of Hashiria participated in drifting competitions or point-to-point racing, the Midnight Club practiced one thing only: top speed. Races typically started at speeds of at least 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles per hour, and the competition officially started when one of the cars sounded its horn. And afterwards, the drivers would meet up and talk about how the race went. So they would have a meeting. It was really interesting. They would have a meeting spot, and the way they would like tell everybody at like the meeting, okay, look for this type of ad in the newspaper. And so there would be like some sort of ad, like maybe advertising handbags or something like that. And in there would be a hint as to like where to meet.
Huh.
And so then everybody would know where to meet. And then they would like go do the race, and then they would have a spot where they would meet up and like kind of like talk about how it went. So I just think it's kind of interesting. Members all displayed small rectangular Midnight Car Special stickers on their bumpers, which were frequently coupled with windshield stickers that said Midnight Racing Team. The Midnight Club did not take kindly to those who had look-alike stickers on their vehicles. Unauthorized racers faced harassment and vandalism of their cars. There were multiple reports of non-members' cars being ruined because they were displaying bootleg club stickers. So, safety
Somebody's
first,
getting keyed.
But yeah. In 1999, members of a Tokyo bosozoku, which literally means running out of control as of a vehicle tribe. It's a lot.
Running a little bit hot tonight.
Yeah. Gang, which is an outlaw biker subculture whose look is highly inspired by American greaser culture. So just think like Grease Lightning sort of thing, maybe amped up a little bit. But they decided that they are going to mess with the Midnight Club.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Hey, do you guys have a video game series based on you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
There's no bosozoku series.
Because they're literally not necessarily criminals, but they're seen as more reckless and violent.
Oh.
And they didn't have like a code of honor like the Midnight Club did.
Where's the movie? The
know.
Western movie. I'm sure there's a million movies about this in Japan.
But the entire time I was researching this, I was like, this is a movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie.
Do it, cowards. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift 2.
Yeah.
Go back to Tokyo. I know you're in space now, but zoom in on Tokyo.
I know, right? As the Midnight Club raced the expressway, the bosozoku were waiting and forced some members of the club into a high-traffic area. One of the bosozoku bikers caused a large chain reaction collision that killed 2 of the bikers and hospitalized 2 members of the Midnight Club, as well as 6 civilians. Since the Midnight Club's most important rule was not to endanger other motorists, the club decided to immediately disband.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
And this is why they are still like super respected to this day, because it's like respect, like code of honor. It's like they're like the samurai of like, tuning clubs, because they had a code.
Your Picari sweat is free wherever you go.
Yeah, right. Except nobody knows who they are. But some of these cars that have these stickers still show up at car events.
Yeah.
So people have seen sightings of the cars. But
you can't prosecute based on a sticker. So
no,
you
you
should
can't.
Be okay.
So I did also just want to mention that a big part of Japanese culture is modifications of the outside of the vehicle, as well as, the inside, like the motor and how it runs and everything.
Yeah.
And there are many car mod subcultures. So I don't have time to talk about all of them. But one in particular that I wanted to mention is itasha, which literally means painful or cringeworthy plus car. So itai is painful, but in this situation, it can also mean like cringeworthy, like it is
okay.
cringeworthy.
So when somebody like posts a video of them singing Imagine, you're like, itai.
I don't know if you would use it in the same way.
we need a word for that.
Yeah, we do. I mean,
in all
like
languages.
Yeah. So if
just
something,
imagine if we had a word like that.
I can't confirm or deny that, but I know if like something is physically painful, you say itai. But yeah, right.
That's the mood right there.
Right. Itasha is a car embellished with images of characters from anime, manga, or video games, mostly from bishoujo games or eroge, which tend to be fairly sexualized.
Sure.
The decorations usually involve paint schemes and stickers, so that's one reason why it's cringeworthy. It's like some of them look like they're an entire one car decal of an anime character or something like that, and it could be like, it's not all, I don't want to say it's all sexual, it's not, but it's a lot of female characters that are like, there's like boobs in your face and what have you. So
I saw the boobs.
I don't want to yuck anybody's yum if that's what you're into.
Once again, gender roles are taking a beating in this, but it seems like that's kind of a part of a lot of the cultures, I mean, we're not talking about like official racing necessarily, but grid girls and race queens have,
Sure.
not as bad as it sounds, has been a big part of racing for a long time.
Sure.
And it's only recently that many of the official racing organizations have like banned
we're not going to do that.
Of grid girls, where the guy literally comes out, with like 4 bikini babes, and they're all like,
yeah, I can see that. I mean, it is what it is. I did want to mention that Autobac's Super GT series, Good Smile Racing, has a run series of Hatsune Miku themed race cars, who is again the Avatar anime style idol.
okay.
Remember Hatsune Miku? She's got like the blue pigtails and everything. So very popular. I would not say she's very sexualized, but
no.
So I just want to emphasize it's not all that. They're also Pacific Racing has had collaborations with Ghost in the Shell Arise, for example.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention too that it's not just like decals. Sometimes it's paint schemes. And one really
like airbrushed.
No.
And a Valkyrie on the side of
wow. Whoa. No, there's this really cool Ava Racing RN Sports car from 2016. If you go on Wikipedia, and it's like purple and like other the other colors of the Ava, and it's just very cool how it's detailed
a
and how it's
14-year-old
painted.
has to drive it, whose mom is dead.
Right, exactly. Shinji, get in the race car.
Get in the car, Shinji.
Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? So Artemis apparently eats some caramels. And
I have to hear all about it.
Minako is
caramels are one step away from Werther's Originals. Minako,
yeah,
watch
right.
yourself. Come on.
Yeah, I know. And Haruka and Michirou have coffee or tea at Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think they're just having fun with the names of
It's
restaurants.
a fairy tale romance.
Yeah, right. And Usagi and Minako just drool over Haruka, so they're not actually eating anything.
Which is, we could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Once again, good luck, Cloverway. Good luck. But like, maybe it's a little different because, like Harry Styles is cute. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. Actually, his legions of fans are grown up now. They're probably women and not girls. But
they might say he's cuckoo.
I'm sure that they would describe him as being handsome and manly. Mm-hmm. But it's like, okay, stick him up against like Tom Hardy or something like that.
Yeah, right.
And we're getting an idea of what I'm into. But there is a tradition of the sort of bishonen, male,
yes,
who in Japanese fiction, who's like beautiful, nobody would say that he is a girl,
No.
but he has maybe traditionally feminine characteristics.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they are just the fact that she just has a tie on, they're like, this is a boy.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. That's just like, you're fooling yourself, right?
Well, I think that they just made that assumption in their head.
Sure, she's a boy. Whatever you have to tell yourself.
I know. Haruka has kind of a deep voice and maybe carries herself in a certain way, but she never said she was a boy.
No, they assumed her gender. They 100% assumed her gender.
They did.
But I'm just saying that, like, they are, whatever her gender, they are impressed by her and attracted to her.
Yes.
And so they're like, well, it's a boy. I mean, it's a boy, right? Because we like her.
Uh-huh.
I mean, him.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Like, don't make me break the Kinsey scale out here.
Oh my
because
goodness.
it's not necessarily agreed on as science, but right, there's a little bit of that going on here, right?
I mean, that's entirely possible. I don't want to rule that out.
Speak for these fictional characters.
No, I don't. And I did want to mention too that Bishonen, that word is in the title of this episode.
That's true. Who is this handsome boy?
Yeah, right, exactly. I think that there's definitely some of that going on, and you could say that they are attracted to Haruka. That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if once they find out that Haruka is a woman, that they're like, oh, it kind of seems like they're like disappointed,
yeah,
and that
because they think they're straight.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So, and whether that's true or not, that's what they think. So, but Haruka likes to flirt with everybody. Like even like you were saying, like probably shouldn't be flirting with them so hard.
But so far I love it. But
yeah.
Then I have to step back and go, possibly an example of the depraved lesbian trope.
I had not thought about that.
I'll explain for people who are unsure. Often LGBTQ characters, specifically women, that is bisexual or lesbian women, are portrayed as sexually aggressive or rapacious. Why? I don't know. Generally, I think it's probably hetero writers, depicting somebody who would want to be with somebody who's even their gender is like, obviously they're sex crazed, they don't have like normal impulses.
Yeah.
You see this a lot. Like you see, all of my examples are Star Trek because I've been talking about this in Star Trek for the last couple of years on my show. But what's a non-Star Trek example? I don't know. Often you'll see like a comedy movie where, let's say it's the mid-2000s and like Kristen Wiig is in it. And then she has a friend who is a lesbian, but the friend's, maybe got a significant other, but she's also like, hey, target lady, if you ever want to, whatever.
Right.
And that's a mild example of it. But like, why would that be? Just because people are attracted to the same sex doesn't mean that they see all of their friends as somebody
absolutely not
to tackle. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I guess I've always viewed it as just Haruka being a huge flirt, and that's just part of her personality. And she's incredibly charming, and she knows that.
Yeah. And
so she enjoys... I think she really cares about Michirou and wouldn't do, and like wouldn't do anything to really jeopardize.
Just because this is not an example of it, or because this is okay, doesn't mean that we shouldn't, look out for when it's not okay.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's good to talk about and just like be like, is that what's going on?
Yeah.
So
no.
It doesn't
seem
like it, but. Villain gauge, we rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The daemon in this episode is named Sudiringu, or steering.
What?
Yep, it's basically just the Japanese version of steering. And her character design, she's got pink skin, short lime green hair, Black grease lines under her eyes, and she is basically a human race car. She's got a navy blue sleeveless bodysuit with a windshield / window over her boobs, which you talked about, it's great.
I had to stop the video for a few minutes
because you were laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wheels attached to her shoulders and thighs, silver exhaust around her waist, long navy blue gloves that morph into red driving gloves, and she is also wearing a blue helmet, goggles, a red driving scarf, and navy blue heels, and she carries a steering wheel. And, of course, her star tattoo is right above her cleavage, which we see when her boob window goes down. So now we're up to our rating. I appreciate her overall design. I love that when she takes Komeda's pure heart, it looks like she has hoisted him up, like she's working on him like he's a car. That's really cool.
It's one of the reasons that you jack it up so high, you know, put on a lift, is so you can just stand up and work on it. Not need a crawler, but I appreciate them trying to get not a lot of time. She has very little screen time.
Yes.
So we gotta get all of our car jokes in right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that she drives on her back, so her legs go on top of the spoiler.
Yes.
It's amazing. I love that she somehow gains a spoiler when she drives, and I didn't catch that she made her own car noises, but that's great.
Yes.
But I think that this is pretty good, but I didn't think it was quite as creative as the first two Daemon. So I'm going to give her 4 out of 5 dark stars.
4 out of 5 dark stars is the wrong answer. 5 is the right answer.
Okay.
And it's a good thing she's only on screen for a little bit of time, because we'd have to invent a 6.
Wow.
This is my favorite one so far.
Wow.
She is fantastic.
Okay.
I mean, every aspect of her is hilarious.
Yes.
Well thought out and designed. How does she get through a doorway?
I don't.
She has rear view mirrors on her elbows, you know?
She's not worrying about that right now. Like she
It's
gets through a doorway.
But she's amazing. And the fact that they're like, I think you could tell, sometimes you have a Yoma that sticks around and they can just be menacing or just, you know, have I'm going to get you, my pretty. But they knew that she's just on screen for like 3 minutes tops.
Yes.
So we need to have everything in there. Come on, every idea that we've got. She makes her own noises. She goes like that. It reminded me of the children's book, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, where Ralph is a mouse that lives in a hotel, and people leave things behind, and so he collects stuff, and then somebody left a toy motorcycle behind, and he finds out, it's magical realism, it doesn't matter. He finds out that if he gets on the motorcycle and he goes, like he can drive the motorcycle. So That's it, it reminded me of that, although clearly that's not what they were going for.
No.
But, yeah, fantastic. And power boob window. What else do you want? It's a 5. Well, it's time to say goodbye with our segment, Farewell, My Lovely, where we rate this demon's death. Mm-hmm. How does she take her destruction? Mm-hmm. What kind of rating would you give it? I'll start you off. This is a strong one. And one of the things that I liked personally is that we, you know, the little time that we spend with this demon, we get a sense that she's real adventurous, but also realizes what she does is dangerous. And when that light comes out from the moon spiral heart attack, she knows that it's over. She gets a real good look at her end. You know what I mean? You see it in her eyes. She's like, oh, this is it. This is the big finish line in the sky. And then boom! Like a deer in the headlights. Yeah. 4.
Okay. I was not as taken with this lovely as you were. I thought it was okay. But I guess I didn't take into account her just seeing the death come for her at her face. So I'll have to look more closely at that at the next time. But this one, she wasn't giving me a whole lot with that lovely itself. So I have to give it a 3.
Well, I disagree. Because there ain't nothing like her. She's a shining machine. She's got a feel for the wheel, keeping the moving parts clean.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Cal is writing odes to...
Put it down the avenue.
to steering you. Let's move on to Sabu or Dabu, where we talk about the most interesting differences between the sub and the dub. In the English dub, Haruka is named Amara and Michirou is named Michelle.
Why?
I don't know.
At least one's got Shell in her name, I guess.
Yeah, I can see the jump from Michirou to Michelle, but I never understood Haruka to Amara. Also, I don't know anybody named Amara in real life.
This isn't a real person, but it's in my real life.
Yeah?
There is a New Mutants character.
Yes?
Named Amara.
Okay.
And she, codename Magma. She is, boy, it's a long story. She's from Nova Roma, which is a colony of Romans who lived in South America, but don't know that the world has moved on and that Rome fell and everything. So there's just a bunch of columns, in the Amazon rainforest.
Interesting.
And and so anyway, and her power is the power to control lava, the earth. She's a geomancer.
Okay.
So this is kind of similar to what Haruka's powers are.
Do you think that's what they were doing?
What
they were pulling from?
I don't know. But
it seems
there are weird parallels.
That is true.
That we discover.
Yes.
She has earthquake powers. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Right.
So I'll just drop that off.
Okay.
Keep on moving.
Okay. All right. If that's where it came from, then I have a little bit more respect for it.
It's also couldn't possibly be a man's name.
Yes.
It's almost like they were like, what if we named her Cutie Patootie, Sugar Tits or something like that? And it was like, nobody's ever we're going to straighten this out, like an arrow.
I know.
So maybe that's what it is too.
Ugh, I hate that if that's what that
is.
I
despise it.
So, yeah. The garage owner, Kameda, was renamed Anthony. And I don't know.
Anthony... what about Dale Earnhardt or something like that?
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
Or there's got to be an Anthony racer.
Probably is it somebody
Italian guy,
that's
right?
named Anthony. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised in the least.
I don't know my racers well.
No. The daemon Steeringu is named Steeringu with steering with 2 O's at the end. So kind of similar.
Yeah, that's what you do. You need steering goo.
Yeah.
That's what makes the steering work.
Right.
What?
I don't know. In the dub, the scene where Michirou puts her hand on Haruka to comfort her was cut.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't need that.
No. Why would we need that? Uranus's attack, called World Shaking, was changed to, quote, Uranus World Shaking, and Neptune's attack, Deep Submerge, was changed to, quote, Neptune Deep Submerge. So they just, put the names on top of it.
Right.
So
at least they didn't switch them.
Yeah, no kidding. In the dub, instead of saying lovely when being destroyed, the daemon said, the crystal!
The crystal!
Yeah. So, I don't know why. And now we are up to our rating of the episode. I love that Usagi is mad at Minako for goofing off because she totally would do that. And it's just an excuse for her to go into Crown. But she gets more and more mad at Minako because Minako is basically doing something that she would be doing. But she's mad that Minako's kind of getting away with it.
She also made me mad that Minako can do it and she would do it in her mind.
Yeah.
But, we don't usually see Usagi take a back seat to anything. We tend to think of Usagi as an enfant terrible, but maybe only in her own sphere. And I think that's
true.
I think that's very childish, and I mean that in a descriptive way only, not in a pejorative way.
Yeah.
A young girl could yell at her little brother and her mom at home and then be around the guy she likes and she's just invisible. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And so I think that we see that here. Usagi would like to be doing what Minako's doing, to really pursuing this hot guy, but instead she's relegated to just yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah.
Well, and I'm talking about the entire thing, right? With being competitive the entire episode, right? With her talking to Matoki and then them playing the video game together and then everything with Haruka. So, yeah, but I do like how competitive they are with each other and that they're showing how similar they are. And I love how we were introduced to Haruka and Michirou with the dreamy music and the flower petals. I think that's fantastic. And I love that Minako being determined that this is the guy she's going to date, and then spying on Haruka, which I think is such a teen thing to do, is spying on your crush, and like following them around, because like when you become older, you're like, why in the heck is this kid doing this? But it's like, you know, at the time it's like something that like seems like, oh yes, this is how you do this sort of thing,
instead of walk up to them and introduce yourself.
Yeah, right. This is how you pursue the person that you like. You spy on them from far away,
right.
And
because you're scared.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. This episode is so ridiculous and funny. I laughed out loud several times. I love this episode a lot. It's 5 out of 5 roses for me.
I mean, what do I even say?
I know.
Like, I've said it already. Mm-hmm. And this thing, speaking about accelerators and keeping the moving parts clean, this dial only goes up to 5. This dial's broken.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, incredible episode. Poor Pluto. Actually, thinking way back, maybe some of the original Senshei's introductions weren't so good, but
yeah, I know.
What an introduction to 2 new characters. 2 new characters who are 1.5 great characters. We'll get the other half next week. You know, who are just fascinating, who are adding something to this team that we don't have already. You know, you see, like what I said before, the complicated like sexual dynamics and the shades that this show can portray. 3 or 4 girls of around the same age who live in Japan in the mid 90s, and yet they're all different.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got video games, and you throw some Motoki in.
You do.
As a cherry on top.
Yes.
So clearly it's a 5.
Perfect.
100 miles an hour. Sorry, kilometers.
My English title for this episode is Charmer Haruka, Crush First Sight.
Crush First Sight. I had to kick around a lot of ideas for this, and like I said, I wanted to do the song thing, and I was thinking about songs, all the songs I knew about cars, and they're all about guys pursuing women, you know. Mm-hmm. Get out of my dreams, get into my car would be a perfect title for this, but it's about can't remember who sings that song, but he's trying to get a lady in his car. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's got the car.
Yeah.
Drive My Car by the Beatles has a fun sexual dynamic to it, but it's still about none of the people in any of these songs has like the power and the personality of Haruka, except for the titular Panama, the car of the Van Halen song. But that's Eddie talking about how he wants to have sex with his car. And so I didn't think that would be appropriate either. So I had to jettison the car thing. Let's not stick to a theme if it doesn't work. We're going to double back to Sophie B. Hawkins. Damn, I wish I was your lover.
Nice. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 93. Usagi no Akogare. Yubei no Tensai Michirou in Japanese. Usagi's idol, the graceful genius Michirou, the English translation, and the English title, Bad Harmony.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a lousy title, by the way.
Yeah.
See what I'm working with here?
Well, your titles are just going to be better.
But at least it's harmony, right? So maybe it'll justify me trying to pick like a song title.
Yes.
Or maybe I could do a lyric.
You could do a lyric.
You know?
Absolutely. You don't have to stick to titles.
Yeah, kind of do titles, though.
But it would be like harder to search lyrics unless you know specifically what you're looking for. Oh, okay.
A lot of sound lyrics.
All right.
Because there's a lyric from Panama where he's talking about, don't you know she's coming home with me? You lose her in the turn.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
It's like the racing game. And...
I just
It's just a sing-along now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
There's an entire band called The Cars.
Well, yeah, there you go.
There you go. I guess you're just what I needed. But what we need from you is to have you join us on the social medias, because we'd like to talk to you. We'd like to hear from the fans. Also, if you like what we're doing here and you want to support the show, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. where we've got extra content. What kind of content? I'll tell you. We have an entirely different podcast about anime called Animetification, where we watch the first episode of a randomly selected anime show, and then we give our opinion on it. Is it good? Is it bad?
Yes.
And that spans old anime, new anime, good anime, bad anime.
Yes.
Red fish, blue fish. And also we've got a show called Pretty Guardian Sailor Noobs, where we are both noobs, and we're watching the live-action Sailor Moon show, Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, which we talked about, Tokyo Drift, and we didn't even mention that Keiko Kitagawa, the live-action Sailor Mars, is in that film. Also, we've got outtakes from the show and more fun stuff, so please check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Sailor Noob. Vroom, vroom.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.